Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaylin, and I will be your briefer for today. Let's start off by introducing yourselves.
Hello, I'm Sade Williams.
Hello, I'm Ayao Hokpori.
Thank you for your introductions and for coming today. For today's brief, we'll be discussing suicide prevention. We can help support prevention in our fellow troops, as well as anyone you might come across throughout your life that has suicidal ideations. This topic is very dear to my heart because my husband's father died by suicide in 2019. The world was a very dark place for our family, and sometimes it was difficult to navigate throughout life, especially knowing that our son would never get the chance to meet his grandfather. Today, I would like to speak on suicide and how it can also affect the family members that person might leave behind. According to U.S. Department of Defense, active duty suicide rate drops. In 2020, suicide was the 13th leading cause of death among veterans, and the second leading cause of death among veterans under the age of 45. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic that was announced in early March 2020, the veteran suicide rate continued to decline. That is surprising, right? You would think that with all the sudden changes of having to quarantine and not knowing when we would ever be back to normal, suicide rates would rise. Thankfully, the pandemic created an outlet for many to self-reflect and put themselves first, which created a coming together moment around the world. Suicide rates among active duty troops decreased from 28.7 per 100,000 members in 2020 to 24.3 per 100,000 members in 2021. This is a 15% decrease, according to Elizabeth Foster, the Executive Director of DoD's Office of Force Resiliency. What was the cause of this change? Now we could talk about our resources that might have affected this decrease in 2020. According to Sanchez C., reducing the stigma and encouraging mental health care in the military. In the military, the stigma is that all service members must have 0 defects to be mission ready. Another stigma is that personnel felt that their leadership would perceive them differently or see them as weak. As military members, we have garnered the thought that we should not seek help because we are tough enough to handle our problems on our own, which has prevented many military members from wanting to reach out because they feel it would negatively impact their careers. With this mindset, what can you do to help a person that feels they cannot go to anyone or seek the help they so desperately need? Some stressors in life can seem to never let up and can really affect a member's mental health state. That decrease in suicidal rates came from help seeking. It is up to us to end the stigma of asking for help because ending the stigma works. Mental health is health. According to Fletcher R., Suicide Risk Factors and Support in Military One Source. If you know someone that are showing signs of needing immediate support, do the following. Stay until help arrives. Never leave a person experiencing suicidal thoughts alone. Remove any weapons, drugs, or other means of self-injury from the area. If you're on the phone, try to keep the person on the line while you or someone else calls 911, the military crisis line at 988, or the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Keep talking until help arrives. If the person is unwilling to accept help, contact command or law enforcement immediately. Also, recommending psychotherapy can often be beneficial for people who are experiencing suicidal ideations and behavior. However, when individuals are at risk of suicide, it is essential that they receive a higher level of care like the ones we discussed. Therapy is simply not the only answer to protect those who are in crisis. According to Good Therapy, Suicide Therapy for Suicide, published in 2009, once an individual is no longer in crisis, therapy to treat the strongest contributing factors, therapy to treat the underlying causes of suicidal ideation or behavior is recommended. Hopelessness is one of the strongest contributing factors to suicidal ideations. An individual who continues in therapy once the point of crisis has passed will likely explore ways to resist urges to self-harm, address the factors that led to suicidal thoughts, and create a plan that includes coping strategies and methods to address suicidal thoughts. Mental health, when not taken seriously, can morph into coping habits. and for many, suicide. If you know a loved one who is suffering, don't wait, reach out. Utilize Military OneSource 24/7 days a week hotline. Check up on everyone. Everything starts with a hello. Check in on each other, but more importantly, be there for one another. End the stigma. At this point, I will take any questions you guys might have.
How can we help military families when they lose a loved one to suicide?
That's a great question. Contact your installation chaplain or the minister at your place of worship or a non-medical counselor provided by the Military OneSource, which, by the way, is free.
Is mental health really career impacting?
Possibly. Certain serious conditions like psychotic or bipolar disorders require a medical profile. Other mental health conditions may require a temporary medical profile if the condition impairs and or prevents a member from performing their military requirements. The intent of a medical profile is to ensure the member can complete the medical intervention without disruptions in order to return to full duty. If the mental health profile exceeds 365 days, the member's record must undergo a review by the Airman's Medical Readiness Board, which can lead to an involuntary separation. Again, this should not deter personnel from seeking the help they need. It is a positive course of action and a sign of sound judgment. Thank you. I hope in today's brief you have learned your resources and noted them. As was stated before, it all starts with a hello. You might make that person's day and just know you can make the changes for the better. Thank you.